Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I'm Scott. You're in the Prog Corner, and today I'm going to be asking some questions, man. Is a prog revival even possible? Is this a thing? Could it really be? And also, is it possible that maybe we are right in the middle of the great prog revival? If so, is that even possible? Is that something that we want? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't think it's likely that we'll ever see prog hit the heights that it hit in the 70s, where bands were selling millions of copies and selling out 100,000 seat stadiums. That's not going to happen anytime in the future. But, it may actually be going on right now while you're not looking. There has been a big thing about the demise of rock and roll in general. It just doesn't move the needle like it used to, but maybe rock and roll is moving into its mature phase, kind of similar to jazz in that way. The importance of radio back in the 70s cannot be understated, but, it just isn't the same beast that it used to be. Streaming is definitely the format du jour, and if you're talking about the short attention spans of millennials, why would they want to listen to a 20-minute prog song? Well, I'm telling you, the TikTok generation is actually primed to have a resurgence of interest in long-form music. They're going to get tired of it. The little bits and pieces of music they get on a TikTok video. There is a possibility for a revival. I look at rock music as a whole, and I think about a couple of seminal albums that really helped shape and direct rock music. 1967, Sgt. Pepper's, obviously. 1977, Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, gave the whole industry the kick in the pants that they needed. And then back in 1991, it definitely looked like rock was dead back then, but a little band out of Seattle dropped an album called Nevermind, and that changed things. We need another Nevermind, right? We need another Sgt. Pepper's. We need another album like that really moves the needle and changes things forever. And prog rock is perfect for it, man. Why not? We are well suited. We've got everything we need, man. We've got Prog Magazine, that beautiful glossy magazine. We've got tons and tons of internet radio stations, including the Great Prog Radio. You've got themed cruises, man. You got all kinds of stuff going for us right now. Not least of which is Inside Out Music and some of the other labels that are signing bands and promoting bands, keeping the prog flames burning. Are we going to enter a new golden age? Well, you could say that like 1969 to 1974 was the golden age of prog, right? But I'm kind of thinking we might be in one right now, man. If you look at all the great music that's out there and all the incredible bands that are going strong in 2023, it kind of is like a new golden age, but we just aren't selling the units that we used to. And that's the reason why we started the Prog Corner, man, to try to set the fire underneath people, to try to set fire underneath the prog genre, to propel it forward. And, the demographics actually aren't that bad for us if you think about it. Prog fans tend to be kind of like me, late era boomers, but we tend to have some disposable income. We can buy vinyl, we can go to concerts, we can fly around the world, we can go to cruise to the edge and stuff like that because we've got money in our pocket. So we need to be smarter with that and utilize that and leverage that to get what we want in this world. Yeah, the industry is totally different now. The music business just ain't what it used to be. Old Ahmet Erdogan's rolling over in his grave knowing that his beloved Atlantic Records signed Danielle Bergoli. Cash Me Outside Girl is their big signing of the last 5 years. So yeah, things are definitely different. The industry has definitely changed, but we do have some labels that are putting forth great music. We have a lot of promoters. We have a lot of venues around the world. It's a real global phenomenon. Like I said, we've got the glossy Prog magazine. We've got the themed cruises, but we've got something else that we didn't have in the 70s. We've got the internet, man, and the internet has changed everything for musicians, from how they can record their music to how they can distribute their music to how they can promote themselves. It's changed everything. Back in the day, there were plenty of barriers to entry. In prog, the biggest barrier was ability, right? I mean, it's very objective whether or not you can play a piece of music or you cannot play a piece of music. But there were a lot of other factors going on there, that made that era totally different. You couldn't record your own album in your bedroom, man. You had to plunk down, tens of thousands of dollars to do studio time. You couldn't release your own album. There was no way, electronic distribution on like SoundCloud or anything like that. That wasn't happening back then. So a lot of the barriers for entry are gone. So anybody can record an album, anybody can start a band, anybody can, support it and promote it via the internet. But the internet is also home to a lot of great things for prog rock, not least of which are all the great forums out there. You've got the Steve Hoffman forums, Prog Archives, Progressive Ears, all the Facebook pages and Facebook forums. There's hundreds of them, man. And then there's YouTube, and this is where I come in, obviously, but YouTube is a big part of this resurgence that we're seeing, that we're going to continue to see, that we're going to inflict upon the world. The classic bands from yesteryear definitely don't hurt the situation either, because we've got, we had Genesis and King Crimson just do their final shows in the last couple years, but Yes is still going strong. King Crimson is still going strong. Kansas, Styx, a lot of my favorite bands. Carl Palmer's keeping the ELP flames alive. So in terms of like the classic prog, there's plenty of exposure for that. But man, the future's all about the new stuff, and we've got new artists that are actually making some noise, actually moving the needle. To wit, Mike Portnoy rejoins Dream Theater. The timing couldn't be any better. You've got, bands like Baroness and Mastodon and Gojira winning Grammys. That's good exposure. And then you've got, Steven Wilson putting out hit albums, remixing and remastering a lot of the classics, keeping that exposure going. But it doesn't hurt that he, reformed Porcupine Tree, one of the most important prog bands of the last 20 years, dropped a new album, did a tour, very important. And then you look at the geography of prog rock versus, 50 years ago. It was primarily the United States, the United Kingdom, with a little bit of action in Italy and a couple other countries, but it is a global phenomenon. There is prog in every corner of this earth. I get emails from bands every week from all over the world. So prog is alive. It's well. And it's not just a regional thing, it's a global thing. And like I said, there's been plenty of newer bands getting people excited. Bands like Haken and Riverside that have a little heavier edge, but that definitely gets the younger crowd into it. And anything that gets younger people into prog, I'm all in favor of it. So there is kind of like a new attitude about it, right? There were some really dark years where if any band even talked about having a prog influence, the label would tell them, shh, you keep that quiet, man. You don't tell anybody you like prog. It was the kiss of death, but that's kind of going away now. It's not the four-letter word. It's still a four-letter word, but it doesn't have the negative connotation of a lot of four-letter words. So as prog evolves, it is attempting to bring in some newer fans. Absolutely. This is critical, not just, the prog metal angle of it, but even some of the retro prog bands definitely thinking about trying to get a younger demographic interested in their music, as well they should. And then all of this going on, underneath it all is the vinyl resurgence, which has been going on for the past 10 years. And, I go to record shows and stuff like that, and I see a lot of youngsters with King Crimson records underneath their arms and stuff. It's encouraging, makes me really, really happy. You got Record Store Day. What do they do, like 4 times a year now? And when they first started, man, there were no prog titles, but now you're actually starting to see every record store day. There's 2 or 3 prog titles mixed in there. And then you've got this imaginary fourth wave, right? We had the first wave in the 70s, second wave of prog, the neo wave from the UK in the 80s, and then the third wave has kind of been going on since 1995. I'm here to say there might be a fourth wave. It's starting right now in London with bands like Black Country New Roads, Squid, Dry Cleaning, Black Midi, Yard Act. All those bands are great. They're very progressive. So that might be like a fourth wave of prog happening right before our very eyes. Very exciting because these are young bands bringing in young fans. And, if you're listening to Black Midi, and then you hear Bill Bruford talking about him, you might just want to check out King Crimson or Yes, very good thing for the genre. And then you've got some mainstream artists, right, playing around with stuff. I talked about Taylor Swift a couple weeks ago and how the longest #1 song in history was a song over 10 minutes long by her. But you also have people like Coldplay trying their hand at long-form songwriting. People like the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl is perpetually telling us he's going to put out a prog album, but that's not going to happen. You got Travis Scott sampling Gentle Giant on his latest album, Lil Yachty's latest albums. That definitely sounded like Pink Floyd to me. Lizzo's been playing Heart of the Sunrise at her concerts. So, yeah, it's, a lot of the big names are kind of flirting around with prog a little bit. And then you've got our big, the big tent holders, the big names in our genre, Rush, Pink Floyd, Genesis, Queen. They've never been bigger. They haven't been forgotten about. People still talk about Queen, Rush, Genesis, Pink Floyd, the big four of commercial prog, right? And that's important because when you encounter people, they're like, what the heck is this prog rock? You need to have something to point them to. And, those bands definitely help, kind of pin down what the genre is and what it's all about. So how do we get this prog revival happening? I say we're in a new golden age, but obviously sales figures don't exactly reflect that. So we've got some work to do here, people. We've got an action plan put together to create the prog revival that we all want. And the first is we need to have some realistic goals. Like I said, we're never going to be back where we were when Yes and ELP and Pink Floyd were bestriding the globe as colossuses. But, we can get it back to the point where, our favorite bands are charting and are relevant. And that's what we need to do. So it takes activism on the part of the listeners, of the fans, not just people with YouTube channels or, web pages talking about stuff. It takes the average fan getting involved, talking about the bands they like, acting like they were, teenagers again, man. When you were 13 or 14 years old, your favorite band dropped an album. It was like one of the most important events in your life. When's the last time you felt that way, man? You need to feel that way again. And then we need to use our disposable income. We have a lot more money now than we had in the 70s, so we need to be smart with that and use it to promote our beloved genre. We need to support the bands. We need to support the labels. We need to support the promoters, the venues, the magazines, the websites, the YouTube channels, anybody promoting prog. We need to get behind them and support them. Be vocal about it. Get involved. Talk about it with your friends, share stuff, comment, be a part of the solution. Y'all have been a part of the problem for too long. Let's get off our duffs and create the prog revival that we all want and spread the gospel of prog to the four corners of the earth. And that's what I'm here to do. That's why we started the Prog Corner. And to wit, the rest of the year, we're going to be dedicating to our year-end content, and I posted my schedule on the community tab, but I'm going to go over here real quick. Next week, Song of the Year, Monday, December 4th. Tuesday, December 5th, Epic of the Year, and there have been some good ones, man, so that's going to be a fun episode. Wednesday, December 6th, MVP, Most Valuable Progger. I wonder who's going to win it this year. We've had some great nominees already for that. And then the following week, mark your calendar, boys and girls. It's the big one, December 11th, Monday, December 11th, Album of the Year. And it's going to be pretty good, man. It's been a fantastic year. I'm really excited to go through 2023's best albums, but that's a couple weeks away. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm just kind of playing it by ear here at the end of the year, just doing my thing. You know how I do. Anyway, peace in the Middle East, free Tibet, and God save the king. Save King Chucky. He needs your saving. That son of a gun could use your saving right now. I'll see you punks on the flip-flop. Peace.